Hello everybody. So today we're going to discuss mission 2, which will be graph using slope-intercept form. So we will begin talking about slope-intercept form and some other forms very soon and a lot. So this is the most important slope-intercept form in that linear equations are represented by, and that is probably the biggest thing in 8th grade. So go ahead and get ready to take notes. It's a very important topic, and I would like to just take a moment and really kind of understand what this unit or lesson is about. So if you have any questions for me while you're watching the video, please write them down somewhere on the side. If you want to skip that, that's okay. I will definitely have the assignment upload to Schoology for you, so you will know what the assignment is going to be. But just write down some notes or questions that you would like to ask me, and we can discuss that in class. So, first thing, we're going to begin with symbols. What is slope-intercept form? Right here, this one is what we call slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. You will hear me repeating this form lots of times, so try to start remembering y equals mx plus b. Now, what m, x, b, y stays for? So y equals is the function form that we already learned by plotting points, how to graph the line. Now, if we have the form and the function given, what we need to focus is m, and m will be the slope of the function, and b will be the y-intercept, and I will explain what the y-intercept is, but those will be the two things that will help us to make a graph and a line. Sometimes we may have very weird numbers like fractions or small decimal numbers or even our big numbers, and we would not be able to use a table as an old-fashioned method and do those calculations. So some smart guy come up with the idea that we can have a general form, and this general form, by knowing the slope and y-intercept, will help us to make a graph quickly and to be possible. So, if I have given equation y equals 2/3 x plus 1, I know 2/3 will be the slope, and 1 will be the y-intercept, which is the point we're looking to begin with on the graph. So y-intercept, this y-intercept, the coordinates of this, because it's y-intercept, it means y is 1 and x will be 0. So the first point that we begin our graph will be 0 and 1 right here. In other words, if this is just y, you don't need to think about x at all. You just look at this number, oh, y is 1, here is y1, and we begin with this point. That's my first starting point. Then we apply the slope. We know the slope, m equals 2/3 stays for rise over run. So from here, now we can go 2 jumps up for rise, and then 3 jumps run to the right, and we can get the second point on the graph. And if we keep going, 2 jumps to the left and 3 jumps to the right, we can get the third point. And we can actually keep going that way and get as many as we want points, but in order to form a line, we need 2 points. So once we get those 2 points, we form the line. So we're going to see that much more deeper with the examples, but this is what the introduction or what this learning target is about. It's about writing down the slope-intercept form, being able to recognize what number is the slope, what number is y-intercept, and then graph it. So let's take a look of some sample examples. In the example 1, we have given, graph the line that has given slope and y-intercept. So we have given slope 2/3 and y-intercept -1. Well, remember right here when I told you y-intercept -1, this will be your first starting point. So let's say I'm going to measure this to be -1 here, and that will be the beginning point. Then I have slope, rise 2 blocks. So I'm gonna jump 1, 2 blocks, and then I will run 3 blocks to the right. So 1, if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And that will be my stopping point. So here's the starting point, rise 2 and jump 3. And once I have my second point, I can connect those two lines and make a graph. And I'm done with. Okay, let's do the same thing here. So slope is -2, y-intercept is +4. So y-intercept here, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4. This is my starting point, okay, y. Then the slope is -2. Now, if you have -2 and no number as a denominator, this is the same as -2/1. Once you rewrite your slope with rise jumps and run jumps, then you can go ahead and apply that. So we have rise and it's negative number. So if it's negative number, we're gonna go down. So we will go 1, 2 blocks down, and then we will run 1 block to the right. Because if you go up to the right, you will get another positive slope. So our goal here is to get a negative slope. With negative slope, we go down and then to the right. And when we connect those two, we have a perfect negative slope line drawn on the paper. So even though if you forget or make mistake and you draw a line that it looks like a positive and you recognize that the slope is negative, you can just erase that and go through the opposite direction. We will do some practice with this. I know this could be a little bit confused, but we will do some practice and hopefully everybody will feel very confident soon with the slopes. Next example that we have in the video, it says identify the slope and y-intercept of the line whose graph is shown. So what we need to do, we are going kind of backwards. We have given graph and B is the y-intercept. So again, B stays for y-intercept here. And what is the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept is the point that lies on y-axis. And the coordinates of this point is -2. So B is -2. You can tell this right away. So B will always be the first thing that you will recognize. Second thing, we want to count the slope. So we have rise over run. Definitely this is a positive slope. So we need to get from here all the way up here and then this direction. So rise, we go 1, 2, 3 blocks total. And run, we go 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We run 5 blocks. So 3 over 5 will be the slope. And we're done. Same thing with the next example. B, or y-intercept again, is right here on y-axis. And this will be 1, 2, 3. So +3 is B. And the slope, now we have negative slope. And we have to get from here all the way to here. So we rise 1, 2, 3 blocks, 3 blocks down. And we run, so 3 blocks, and then we run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks to the right. So -3 over 5 will be the slope. All right, I hope it makes sense so far. And take a moment to finish your notes. If you're ready, you can just keep following me. So next couple examples are very quick one. We just need to identify if we have given equation, then what is the slope, what is the y-intercept? And we know that the general formula is y equals mx plus b. So basically we have to look for the number that goes along with x. This will be m. And the number that is added or subtracted to will be b. So look at the example here, y equals 3x plus 4. Well, definitely this is what m is. 3, the number with variable, and +4 is my b. So that's it. You just look at the equation and you decide which number stays for what. If we have example like this one. So let's do another similar. So we have negative 1/4 that goes with x. This will be negative 1/4 will be the slope. And then we have positive 3 that will be my b. If I keep moving down here, we have the same situation. Negative 3/4 x, so negative 3 over 4 is the slope, and b will be negative 2. So we are kind of done with a few of those. Let's take a look at this. We have y equals negative 5x, no b. If we don't have b, it's the same as plus 0, right? Nothing there. So b is 0, and negative 5 is what the slope is. Same thing with this example. B is 0. We don't have b, so 0, and negative 5 over 3 will be the slope. Now the only different example, and I missed that on purpose, is this one. Because what we have given here is equation that it says y plus 3x equals 2. Remember, this equation does not match this one because y, it's not by itself written down as the equation. We have y plus 3x, which is not the same exact form that we need to. So first we're going to solve the equation for y, and then we will tell what m and b are equal. So how do we solve for y? Well, remember, when we learn to solve for y, we need to cancel this number. This is positive 3x, so I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Those two cancel, and then we get y equals negative 3x plus 2. Since I know the equation now, I can tell, wow, this is my slope form, and I can tell that negative 3 is the slope and positive 2 is y-intercept. And that's it. We're done. Okay, so the very last problem that we're going to do, we will recognize a couple of those. We have just two very quick examples here. So the first one says y equals negative x. Now, everybody remembers that when we have negative x, then there is no number here, it means always number 1. So m, the slope, will be negative 1. But we also know if there is no number that is added or subtracted to, it means plus 0. So b will be 0. And that's all. We will be done with this. If we have to graph this, and I draw my y coordinate and x coordinate here, b is the y-intercept, or the starting point, which is right here at 0, and then we will apply the slope. If the slope is negative 1, we can write this as a negative 1 over 1, because if there is no denominator, it means over 1. Okay, so negative 1 over 1, we go rise 1 and run 1 to get the second point, and we can keep going. Rise 1, run 1, and we get another point. And I can keep going as, you know, as many points I want to, and when we connect those points, we are getting our straight line with a negative slope. So the idea of this example was to show you what will be the slope and y-intercept, and then make a quick graph of this equation. Same thing with the last problem for the day. We have 4/5 for the slope, and b is negative 3. So I'm gonna draw the line, and we will have again x and y, and negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Let's say starting point b is negative 3 here, and then we have positive 4 over 5 slope. So positive 4 means rise 4, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we run 5 blocks to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be the stopping or ending point. And once you have 2 points, you just need to connect them to finalize or finish your graph, and we are done. That's all what you need to do for today's lesson. So we did cover a few things. We talk about how to identify the slope and y-intercept from given equation, and also being able to sketch quick graph. we talk about if we have given the graph already, how do we count the slope from the graph and what the y-intercept is equal to. And we also talk about if we have given y-intercept and slope, then how do we make the graph. So review those. Those are the three main things for this lesson, and we will do some practice in class. So thank you for watching the video and have a great day, everybody.